you're like me, you're juggling a lot. Family, work, home, and we have to maintain physical, mental, emotional, spiritual balance. Well, that's a lot. Stay with us today because our guest is Kathy Peel, America's Family Manager, and she's going to share with us the secrets to making life more simple and more satisfying. So stay with us today on Deeper Living.
From coast to coast across North America, this is Deeper Living, bringing the inspirational marketplace to your front door. We exist to bring you the latest and greatest from authors, artists, and artisans around the world. You're going to love this.
Hello and welcome to Deeper Living. I'm your host, Meredith Book, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ginger Garrett. And today we are excited to have just a wonderful guest, Kathy Peel. And her latest book is Desperate Households. And for all of you women out there watching, I'm sure this doesn't apply to you. Anyway, this actually has 10 life-changing family management makeovers. And Kathy, it is so wonderful to have you with us today.
Welcome.
We are so excited.
It's good to be with both of you.
This is great.
And so many families are in desperate situations. And it doesn't have to be just desperate about clutter. They could be desperate about, we never eat dinner together, we don't know how to communicate, we don't know how to act as a family team. You know, many women don't have time to take care of themselves. There's a lot of ways you can get desperate.
Right. Before we jump into the book, and really you share so many vignettes of different families and really the household and you address a lot of different things. The role of the wife, the role of the husband, and how that dynamic reaches. But let's get a little bit of your personal background. How did this all come about? Were you a desperate household?
Absolutely, I was desperate. When my husband and I married almost 36 years ago, I entered marriage very domestically challenged. I grew up in a home where I never had to do any housework. I never babysat, so I didn't know anything about children, but I wanted to have them. I wanted to be a good wife. I wanted to be a good mom. I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to sew. And I had to learn these things on my own. And so I remember the first roast I ever cooked. I thought, oh, I've got this really good looking cookware. Well, it actually didn't smell too good.
Like, oh no.
But I had this, I didn't know what it was called, but it's called a Dutch oven. It was this good looking, I'd gotten a wedding present, and I put the roast in there, and then I filled it with water. It was a boiled roast. Do you know what that looks like?
Okay, I'll take back my "did it smell good" comment. So,
my goodness.
So that's how bad it was. But I wanted to learn to be a really good wife and someday a good mom, and to run a good home so that everybody who walked through the door would say, wow, it's good to be home.
Right.
So the things that I write about in my books, they didn't just come, I didn't call an 800 number and say, change me. But they came over years of educating myself, because I learned, even though I didn't grow up doing housework and didn't know how to do it, I realized pretty quickly that I don't like to do it. So I always was looking for ways to do it faster, more efficiently, get the family involved. And so I had to figure out this system for myself, my own personal sanity. And that's where it came from. And today, our family, our boys, we have 3 boys, they're grown out of the nest, and we are still a family team, and that's one of the big family manager strategies. So I love where I am in life right now, helping other younger, busy moms figure it out, because I got to tell you, this stuff works.
Oh, I believe it.
And I want for you, and I want for you, Meredith, what we have in our family.
Right.
Because you're right in the middle of it right now with your kids.
Absolutely. Did you want to ask a question?
I have to know. All right, you start off as a desperate household, and you have to learn all of this. And so many of us, we don't get that passed on. So, and Mom, if you're watching, I don't mean that to you. We don't get that passed on. So what was that? What was the pivotal moment when it sort of all started to come together and you knew this was your mission?
Right, that was running smoothly. All of a sudden it just all clicked.
When did you know that this was your message to the world?
Well, a couple of things happened early on in my parenting pilgrimage. I remember when I had 2 preschoolers, well, one was just going to kindergarten, and that year, I pushed the snooze button till the last minute, and then I would run into John's room. Go ahead, we got to go to kindergarten now. Okay, do we have clean clothes? You know, do the smell test. To see if we hadn't been clean. And then I'd go to the kitchen. And, oh shoot, we're out of milk again. And so, John would come in and say, let's play like we're lost on the moon, and we'll have dried Cheerios for breakfast. And he'd say, Mom, are we out of milk again?
She's staring at you
And
like,
this
what?
is a true story. The gal that I carpooled with that year, she was just kind of as out of control as I was, and we had to put radar detectors on our cars to get our kids to school on time. That's how bad it was.
That is extreme.
It is extreme. And we could hear it. We'd start honking at the end of the block, and we'd get our children out and throw them in the car and say, have a good day. And I thought, and that was a pivotal point in my life, because I thought, I'm doing my child a disservice by such a stressful morning. He's going out into a stress-filled world. And so that was a watermark life.
Wow.
And then realizing that God does not waste experiences on us. And I grew up having to work in the family retail stores, dress stores. You think, well, okay, what does that have to do with home and family? It had a lot to do with it, because I had this business background. So when the children were small and they'd be arguing over, it's my turn to play with this. No, it's my turn to play with this. I would think, we argue about this every day. Well, I'm going to lose my mind. And I remembered, we didn't argue at the stores about, it's your turn to clean out the dressing room. No, it's your turn. No, we had standard operating procedures.
Oh.
And I thought, along with collecting all this information on how to do housework faster, better, you know, cook quicker, smarter, I started reading business books, and I realized that home is an organization.
It is.
Wow.
And you know, not that I was trying to create some cold corporate culture, but you know what? When you know who's supposed to do what when, that lowers the stress level. And when you do advanced work, you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off right before, you know, a church potluck dinner or something. Or if you're doing team building. And I began to see that the very strategies that run a business well run my home well. And my family, they were the guinea pigs.
And they're like, thanks, Mom. But it
worked.
By looking, but I think by implementing that type of strategy, saying there's a procedure to this, I'm sure the stress level of your kids probably dropped so dramatically. I mean, even yours, because you know, when Mom's crazy, the whole house is crazy. It's so true. I mean, moms can hold the house hostage, literally. And you know, the kids don't. You know, I know my daughter is 10 and my son is 6, and we're at that age, but I know that when, you know, we've hit that critical mass point, I mean, it affects everything. Ellie will be like, Mom, I want the girls to come over. I'm like, no, there is no way your friends are coming and playing in this house right now. It is a complete mess. No one's coming inside. And then I started realizing, oh, that's nice. I wanted the house where all the neighborhood kids could come over and play. And, you know, now I'm like, absolutely no way. And that stopped her from her home being sort of the nurturing place where, you know, all of the friends in the neighborhood could come, and she has her own little room and her private space, and she can be with her girlfriends. And I was taking that away. And, you know, there's just those small things, and everyone has those random crazy mornings when you're running out the door, but it's true. When your kids start school, that's when it does hit home. All of a sudden, you're like, I'm totally, you know, have a good day. And you're like, they're just walking to school like this. Am I late? Am I late? Am I late? You know, Ellie was always freaked out about being on time. So, and all of a sudden, you do. As a mom, it hits you. I think every woman desires to have their home peaceful and calm.
Everyone wants to walk through the front door from a stress-filled world and say, oh, it is good to be home. And we need it to be a place of rest and refreshment and renewal, and where we feel unconditionally loved. So if home is this stressful environment and you're tripping over things, but you know, let me be quick to say that people think, when they think of a home out of control, they usually think about clutter, and it is important to be able to find things.
Right.
But we do makeovers on people who are too organized. Because if you are too organized, and let's say that if you're the kind of person who, I mean, this is the way God made you. You just like things in place.
Obsessive compulsive.
The kids come in after school and they say, Mommy, can we go to the park? And you say, no, there's a dish in the sink. And you just can't stand it. And you know, maybe you think, is that me? Well, how do you vacuum? Do you vacuum in stripes on that carpet? And you don't want to see little footprints on those stripes? if that's you or our viewers, I just want to suggest that you lighten up. Because your kids are not going to remember if they could eat off the kitchen floor. They are going to remember if home was a good place to be and if mom was a fun person to be with.
Right.
And this causes stress. Too much order and organization causes stress to your family because people who are over at this extreme, they are nags. And I know that. And nobody wants to be a nag. Now, in all respect, those people who are at the other end of the spectrum, and I'm going to put myself in that category because I am naturally a messy person. I'm very right-brained. And we're the ones who are, we're the creative ones. We're spontaneous, flexible.
Well, it's okay if it's a little messy.
The kids come in from, Mommy, can we go to the park? Yes, I don't want to do the laundry anyway. This causes stress to your family because you can't find things, you're always running late.
Right.
Well, I can't wait to get into some of the strategies you have for us to get our lives in order and our households in order. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be visiting some more with Kathy Peel. So stay with us.
Hi, I'm Steve Deal. I'm here with Ryland Angel. Hey, Ryland, how are you?
Very well, thanks, mate.
Great. Ryland has a new CD out on the EMI label, and it is going to take the country by storm. You need to check it out. Check it out at www.deeperliving.com.
Hi, welcome back to Deeper Living. Our guest today is Kathy Peel, America's Family Manager. Now, Kathy, we've talked about the two extremes, the super messy, domestically challenged, and the super organized. But for me, how do I know where to start? How do I even begin to unravel my desperate household?
No matter where you are on that extreme, you know, really, really organized or really, really messy, everybody under the roof of your home should get a say under what makes your home a good place to be. Because it's very often, I would say more times than not, people marry opposites. So you have messy people and neatniks living under the same roof, and you have to learn to live together in harmony. I suggest that you call a family meeting and be smart about this. Call it at a time. Not on a night when there's a big playoff game or some kind of a youth group moment, and do it at the time of the month when you feel reasonably emotionally stable. You know, there are a few days, I'm sure. And you know, put a snack in the middle of the table. Make this a non-optional meeting, though. Okay. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at each family member and say, I want to be a great mom. I want to be a good wife. I want our home to be a good place to be. I want to be in a better mood, and I don't want to be a nag. That has great value. They want to hear you say that. They want to hear all of us say that. Not just you guys. I'm not being hard on you. Just like everyone else.
I can be a nag.
And you look at each of them and say, what would make home a good place to be for you? And it's very, very important that you ask each person in your family and listen to what they have to say. And they're not going to, don't be scared to do this. A teenage son might say, well, Mom, I'll tell you, if you just get off my case so I didn't have to make up my bed every morning.
I would just deliver my laundry folded, packed, and put it in the drawer. It'll be good.
But usually it's about, you know, get off my case. Or, you know, maybe if me and the guys could come in and build sandwiches after practice, that would be cool if I knew we could. Things like that. They haven't thought about this, so it's not going to be a long list, and they don't want this to be a long meeting. So, but it's very important that they know that you care what they think, okay? Because being a good family manager is not about mom doing everything, but neither is it about mom getting her way on everything. Sorry to tell you. So if you want to build a team, you've got to empower that team. Listen to what they say. When it gets to be your turn, okay, then you're going to say, here's what it takes to run a home and family. They don't understand. Your husbands don't understand. And a lot of women I meet, you know, they're mad, they're resentful because their husbands walk in, they don't see what to do. But in all fairness, if I walked into my husband's office and I wanted to help, I wouldn't know what to do. I could do a few things, But there is a free document. It's called Who's Responsible for What at the Family Manager website.
Okay.
That's familymanager.com. Just print that off before the meeting.
And this is what you've designed. You put the questions out there, and okay,
It's a
perfect.
list of tasks
Okay.
that it takes for your home to be reasonably sanitary and orderly. All right? And you're going to lay these pieces of paper out on the table, and your family doesn't get it. All right? Right now. And you're going to talk, they're going to say, wow, we don't think about that. But you're going to say, you know, to make this home a great place to be, we've all got to pitch in. And then you need to talk about who's going to do what.
Right.
You want another good business principle. You want to communicate. You want to come up with your family definition of clean and organized. Everybody's is different.
Right, because obviously every families are at different stages in their lives. They're all, you know, the kids are at different ages.
Yes.
And I think, you know, we were talking earlier kind of at the break, you know, a lot of times men also come in with the expectation that their wife is going to do everything. Oh, isn't she supposed to know how to do this already? But as we know, you know, this isn't 1950. Many women work, many women stay at home, but staying home is a full-time job as it is.
Is it?
And I remember when, you know, my daughter was born, I stayed at home, and my girlfriend had her baby the week after I did. So she was working full-time. So we had that first kind of stay-at-home versus working mom routine and kind of had that discussion. And I said, well, you're so lucky because you can come home to the house just how you left it. You know, I've been at home kind of doing this all day, and she can come home and just relax to a clean home. But then, you know, you have the flip side. She didn't have all time with her child, and so much more goes into family management than just the clean home. Because if it's not under control, I know when my house isn't clean, I don't feel like I can do anything. Like I don't have the right to go out with my girlfriends or go have lunch or create extra time for myself if my house isn't clean. And I think women and men go into marriage with a different expectations.
A lot of them do. And it's so important to sit down on the front end of your marriage and decide who's going to do what. Because family management in and of itself is a full-time job. For a family of 4, it takes 31.7 hours of household tasks just to keep some modicum of order and sanitation. So many women have another full-time or part-time job in the marketplace, or they volunteer a lot, and they're working 70, 80, 90 hours a week. Bottom line, we all have to be wise about how we manage our lives. If you are a full-time family manager, you better know that that is a very valuable full-time job, and you do it with excellence, okay? And if you have another job in the marketplace, you need to you and your husband, if he has a job in the marketplace, you really need to split those more evenly, all the household tasks.
I mean, I'm getting your book here, and I'm getting your message, and what I love is that this is not a book that adds burdens to women. If you work harder, then you can have this. If you do more, you can have this. This is about finding freedom and working your home in a way that frees you up as a woman.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not trying to make us work harder, are you?
Right.
Oh, not at all.
It's sort of the time
You're giving us some
management.
skills.
Well, there's time enough to do most of what you need to get done in a day.
That's the end goal of all good family management, home management, time management, is to free up time for the things that matter most to you, so that you have time for your husband, so that you have time to spend quality time with your children, and you don't feel guilty when the girlfriends call and say, "I want to get together." And really, a foundational. Let's talk in a few minutes about the foundational aspect of running your home by department. This will free you up.
Oh, well, let's get into it now.
Okay. All right. You ready?
Yeah, I can't wait.
Okay. There's 7 departments in your home that you oversee.
Okay. We have a department store.
Love it.
It's just the department store influence. All right.
Everybody has to manage home and property. That's all of your stuff that you take care of. Average family of 4 does 2 tons of laundry every year. So that's just part of home and property. I'm talking about the floors, the cars. I mean, you usually oversee a lot of the belongings. Then the food department. You've got to make sure there's food in the pantry, the refrigerator, make lunches, what's for dinner, all of that. Third, family and friends. These are the relationships in which you have responsibilities. You've got to keep up your end of the marriage.
Right.
You've got child rearing responsibilities. You've got parents and in-laws and friends to take care of.
Okay, I'm overwhelmed already.
Oh, no.
Okay, we're not through yet.
Here's all the departments.
You've got
Then
3.
the finance department, that's all the money issues.
Right.
Then special events, what's that? Those are the things over and above all of your daily duties, but they have a definite beginning and end. They have to be managed. The biggest special event of the year that you manage is the holiday season.
Right.
That's why you're crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then, like a birthday party, a vacation.
Right.
Then time and scheduling is the 6th department. And that's where you've got to get the right people to the right place at the right time with the right equipment.
Right, and dressed.
Oh,
You're
my.
the dispatcher, you're the facilitator. And last but not least, maybe the very most important department is self-management. Because if a family manager does not take care of herself, everything else falls apart.
Yeah.
That's the one department. If you let that kind of go, everything else suffers. Think about it. The laundry, you may not be able to open the door to your laundry room. You will eventually catch up, or you can run down to Walmart and buy clean underwear for the kids for tomorrow. Okay.
You're laughing really hard, Ginger.
Not that I've done that this week.
You might be eating too much fast food, and you think, we've got to make some changes.
Right.
That's not going to affect everything else right now. If you do not take care of yourself and take care of your body, sharpen your mind, nourish your spirit every day. If you crash and burn, hit the wall in a puddle, it is not going to be pretty, and you're going to end up having to run your house from the horizontal position. Every other department suffers. I can say this with authority because this is where I was. If you had met me 20 years ago, because Kathy was learning how to do everything else better, faster, more efficient, but I hadn't learned the N word. No. And I hadn't prioritized taking care of myself, and I did. I ended up in the hospital. And that's when I added that 7th department. And I saw, wow, I may be able to, get routines and standard operating procedures into place and get this family all working together, but, I was still not taking care of myself. So it's important.
Well, you have such a message of hope for women, and we're going to cut to a quick break, and when we come back, I want to hear more about how you are sharing this message all over the country.
Award-winning designer Deborah Bordeaux brings you her For You Designs collection, made in sterling silver with crystal and semi-precious gems. Each item comes uniquely gift-packed with an exclusive poem inspired by the Word of God. This collection is themed by life events: friendship, love, praise, remembrance, and even salvation. The perfect reminder of God's promises for yourself or for a cherished friend or family member. With the For You Designs collection, you will never be at a loss for words.
Hello and welcome back to Deeper Living. If you're just joining us, Ginger and I have been visiting with Kathy Peel, America's Family Manager, and we are learning so many fantastic insight in how to make your home an incredible safe haven for your family to grow and nurture, and not the desperate household that you might be feeling right now. So Kathy, just, we left really at the break with you really sharing how you you ended up in the hospital. You really hit burnout point and said something's got to give, because you were doing everything you were supposed to do, but the last thing you weren't doing was not taking care of yourself. And how important that is to nurture ourselves and to feel that need to take care of ourselves.
It's so true. And just like you put certain things on your list of tasks every day, you need to put things that nurture you, that fill your spirit, that take care of your body, that sharpen your mind.
Right.
And if you don't, it's not pretty. It's really not pretty. And I find some women say, well, I'm just too busy caring for everyone else. I don't have time to care for myself. And that is just not true. You can't afford not to take care of yourself.
Right.
Well, how do women let go of the guilt of doing that? If we're running the good household, so many times I feel like the household is so much more important than me, and I'll make time where I can. How do you encourage women to let go of that guilt?
First of all, I would say let's pretend like it's you. I would say,
Ginger.
I would say, you are so valuable, and you're running the most important organization in the world. You're the CEO, you're the overseer of this very important organization. And any other overseer or CEO or COO or whatever you want to call yourself is going to take time to take care of himself or herself, because a lot of people are counting on you. And you've got to start seeing your job as very valuable. That means the person who does this job needs to see the value of taking care of himself or herself. And we might mention, sometimes it is the dad. In some families, it just makes more sense for mom. She's got better benefits, better hours. You know, she can, her salary's better, so dad ends up being the family manager. There's nothing wrong with that if they decide that's what they should do. There are many single dads who have to, you know, by default, and single moms. But the point is, you need to decide who is the family manager.
Right.
And at our house, we say, well, I'm the family manager. Now, my husband is chairman of the board. But,
that's really cute.
But he, you know, because that's the way God has made the hierarchy in our house.
As the head of the household.
He has delegated, you know, the running of the household to me, and you know, we've pretty much split chores down the middle.
And what I like by you pointing that out is that there's value in that, and not to dive, you know, I touched upon it earlier in the first segment, but not to dive into that, you know, stay-at-home versus working mom. It really doesn't have anything to necessarily to do with that. That's not the overall issue. The overall issue is, what strategy are you going to implement with your family that's going to bring that peace to your home, and you know, that everyone can grow up. And you point out in your book, and a really, I think, just a profound fact is that the kids that are being raised in these homes, even if you're a single mom or parent, you're raising the next generation. This is the next culture. These kids, what they're getting from us, and what that stability that they find at home is going to carry on throughout the rest of their lives. So we're nurturing that next generation that's going to create this next culture. And it's just, you know, it is, and it's a big responsibility. And I think you validate everything that goes on in the home, and you know how those management strategies play into it.
There is nothing more important than this. And we all need our home to be less stressful, more peaceful, calm. And the good news is, you know, desperation is a good place to be, because sometimes we have to get desperate before we just you know, say, okay, God, anything, I want to change. And the great news is, I take a lot of comfort in Genesis 1, because God took chaos. The world was in chaos, and he brought order and beauty to it. And he wants to do that for every area of our lives. He cares about the details of our lives, that those mounds of laundry, the fact that you can't get dinner on the table, the fact that the bills are late. He cares, and he's ready, and is just a prayer away.
Well, we have just a few seconds left, but tell us real quickly, this book, it's not just a book. You are out there training women to do this, right?
To do family manager makeovers.
It's fantastic.
Some people will want a makeover, some might want to be a coach, but you can find out at familymanager.com.
Great, and we are so blessed to have Kathy Peel with us today. If you want more information about her books, if you'd like to buy her books, visit us at DeeperLiving.com, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.